Hey everyone, just woke up. I'm gonna go outside and work out soon. The light's on, yeah. Just give you a quick premise on the video. So I intended to take just a raw video and time lapse of just capturing both angles, I guess, and cleaning the gym. However, for some reason, it turned into a test of how long can each camera last before turning off. Because I wanted to see how long a camera will last anyway for the battery's sake. I realized that after like, not really 13 minutes, which I say in the video, it's really like 15 minutes, the GoPro actually shut down. So I did some research online, and there have been cases where if you run the GoPro in 5.3K, I ran it in 30 FPS, that it does tend to overheat. Or so it is common. I didn't find anything about the Ace Pro 2. For those of you guys that are going to be potentially buying it, just know that, But however, the conditions are that if there's no airflow from my research. So in the Philippines right now, it's pretty humid, like it is always outside of it being rainy season. And I might be considering getting rid of the Hero 13 and getting another Ace Pro 2, but we'll see what happens. I don't know yet, but I think there's pros and cons of both cameras, to be honest with you. There really is. And hope you like the video, and I'm going to run it in its full entirety so you guys can check it out. It's a pretty boring video. I have a very pretty boring life, but nonetheless, actually it's a great test, because if I were to be vlogging in the middle of the day, that might happen. And it begs the question for me, do I really need to run it in 5.3K all the time? Might just run it in, I'm trying to get more cinematic shots now, so I might just be running it in 4K at 25 or 24 FPS. Hope you like it. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Take care. God bless. Bye. Okay everyone, so I'm doing two things at once right now. I am basically testing these two cameras I just purchased, the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 on my right side, and the GoPro Hero 13 Black on my left side. So what I'm looking for is basically how it captures this particular scene. With I'm going to be rearranging my little workout area here, and we'll see what happens. Now, for context, I put it to max, like what a daily vlog would be, as in what this looks like at the GoPro's at 5.3K right now and at 30 FPS, and the Ace Pro 2 is at 8K at 30 FPS. So we'll see what happens. We'll see the differences. I've been testing it on the nighttime as well, but this is more like my day test. I'm also more importantly checking the stock audio on it, as in how will it pick up my sound. I am about, I would say 36, about 3 feet away from the stand right now. I want to know what the pickup was, what the quality was, and which one sounds more robotic, which one sounds more natural, and everything like that. And all of this will probably be put in a bigger or little tidbit videos of what my feedback on these two cameras. So with that said, I'm just gonna roll it. I'm gonna roll it, and it's gonna capture me. I'm gonna probably do some time lapses on it, and you can judge which one you really like, because they have their pros and cons. Their price almost the same amount. I'll put it up here somewhere, but their price almost the same amount. And on top of that, I hear a lot of great things about the Ace Pro 2, and the GoPro, the Hero 13 still has its pros. So, but at the end of the day, all of this to me sounds very subjective, because it depends on what your style is and all those things. So check it out. Tell me what you think, and yeah, can't wait to see your comments. Okay, I made my first mistake of the day. So for view wise, the GoPro Hero 13 Black is at super view, and now I then put the Ace Pro, there's a lot of freaking words, dude, Ace Pro 2 in the like ultra wide view. So let's get to it. I guess the idea is The idea is potentially just put my stuff over here. So in order to not get these things so dusty, because we're outside, I'm trying to cover it up. When not in use. Probably gonna get a rack and put all this stuff and then cover it up, but for now, this is what we have to do. Honestly, what should I use? And this.
Dagana,
friends
ano?
around the table are inside of a French ski resort.
Bumalik na
Now,
po
all
sa
slopes all day. Now, moving on and relaxing with some mulled wine and fire. Eventually, a cell phone buzzed. Friends looked at their phones and immediately frowned. Then, without saying anything, they excused themselves and stepped away from the table to talk. And then, when they came back, they were pale, their hands were shaking, and the others asked them, "Are you okay? Like, who are you talking to?" This person, they just shook their head, grabbed their coat, and said they had to leave right now. So,
I'll find a way to dust these things off.
but before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story, you come to the right place because that's all we do. We upload 2, 3, 4 times a week. So if that's of interest to you, please sneak into the link and replace all the foam in their mattress with
Ay, pa na ako
all notifications so you don't miss any of our uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story.
No, let's also keep this here. Para hindi siya move.
Mura na ituko. Na dito.
Where?
Last koan. Kanang where the point is. See?
On the afternoon of Saturday,
Of
February
course,
6th,
okay.
2010,
Oh,
61
Dapat tayo.
there it is.
Ha?
set up the
I
iron
missed it.
living room.
Buto labigog ning. Itong magod.
Right. Friends.
Oh man,
To
that
get
sucks.
you
What
can
a
smell
car.
the beef bourguignons around the
Tapos
stove.
na.
But Alan and the 37-year-old woman who's cooking the beef bourguignon, we're not talking. The woman's name is Alexandra Nicola, and Alan had actually bought this house for her and her 10-year-old daughter. Alexandra used to be Alan's assistant.
Yeah.
They developed a close relationship that was much more like father to daughter. Now, Alexandra had worked for Alan in a number of years, but, they remained close. And also, remember, Alan literally bought her this house. And so as a result of this bond they had, Alan found himself visiting her quite a bit at this house, helping out where he could, and he also paid for her car, and also for her vacations. Alan could afford to be this generous because he was a very successful, high-powered producer of circus shows, which were a huge moneymaker in France. Lots of companies booked circus shows for end-of-the-year parties for their employees, and Alan had lots of major contracts. And so as a result, Alan's office was in this fancy chateau in the countryside, and his wife actually lived in this luxury ski town near the Swiss border. And Alan was constantly traveling all over Europe for work. But this life could also be a grind. Just in the past 24 hours, Alan had traveled more than 1,200 miles, meeting with potential clients and scouting performers. So he put a lot of value on the time where he could escape to Alexander's house, where he could recharge and quiet in the suburbs, and obviously spend time with somebody he cared about. Now, Alan knew all of his friends and coworkers thought that he and Alexandra were blatantly having an affair here. And he was sure that's what his own wife assumed too. And this was fair, because after all, Alan did have lots of extramarital relationships. He also engaged with sex workers all the time, and he really didn't even try to hide any of it. He and his wife, Elizabeth, they lived in separate homes, and they sort of had this understanding that she can have this life, and he can have this life in exchange. However, Alan's relationship with Alexandra really was different. It had always been platonic. They'd never even kissed or held hands. Alan had no kids of his own, and he genuinely enjoyed playing the role of, doting father and grandfather to Alexandra and her daughter respectively. But now, they were in this big fight, and Alan was anxious to repair it. Alexandra's daughter was out of the house for the weekend, so he and Alexandra intended to have this nice marriage night. Alan had to head out again on business on Sunday afternoon, but Alan, somewhat stupidly, had brought up Alexandra's past and ended up getting into this horrible fight and just continued to yell at each other ever since. Alexandra was very defensive about her troubled history. She was a young woman, she had moved to Paris, she had fallen in love, and she had had a baby. The baby had tragically died, and her relationship with her love had point, she had a 2-year-old daughter, and she was really struggling to provide for her because all she could muster in terms of work was like a combination of minimum wage jobs and side hustles. And so when Alan had hired her as his full-time secretary, it had completely transformed her life. But deep down, sometimes she seemed more resentful about his power than grateful for his help. It's like he had total control over her well-being. She didn't necessarily like that. And so with that as context, Alan left the ironing board and walked into the kitchen, hoping that Alexandra had cooled down enough that they could actually have a real conversation. And so once he was in the kitchen, he sort of looked over at Alexandra, couldn't really tell where she was at, turned, opened up the fridge, and just kind of stared inside of it, not really looking for any food or drink or anything. He was just hoping that Alexandra would say something to him. And to his relief, Alexandra did turn around and kind of playfully swung her dish towel at him, telling him that he had to wait for dinner. She didn't seem mad at him anymore. Alan felt very relieved, and he smiled and closed the fridge, and then he told her to come sit with him and have some wine while they waited for the laundry to dry so she could iron it.
No battery? Almost too hot. Okay, so I'm recording this on the Ace Pro 2. I have left this out. I don't know what the time is right now that I've been recording. 13 minutes. The GoPro overheated. We'll see what happens. Okay, it's kind of set up. What I'm gonna do is basically come in the morning before I go to sleep, and then basically what I'll then do is I gotta buy some more weights, but do some weighted exercises every day, and then come back later that day to do my cardio. That's pretty much the plan. So with that said, thank you, and we'll see what happens. And I gotta diagnose what's going on with this thing. Shut down camera.